The next generation is coming. Is your global supply chain organization ready? Hello and welcome. My name is Alan Dunn. I am the architect and the chief instructor in Caltech's Next Generation Global Supply Chain Leadership Certificate program. This brief video is designed to help you understand how we've built a program that can help you to accelerate the right combination of education, training, and experience in order to develop your next generation of qualified global supply chain leaders. You know, we compete for talent in this world. Competing for talent, in fact, is the new reality in the global supply chain. We know that all successful companies recognize that before competing for customers, they first have to compete for talent. And great companies never stop thinking about acquiring and retaining great talent. So at Caltech, we've put together within the Center for Technology and Management Education a global supply chain leadership development program. This is a comprehensive program for acquiring massive amounts of immediately useful information in the shortest possible time. These are cohort-based programs that help to create a kickstart to global supply chain experience and become a confidence booster to your high-potential individuals who you elect to participate in these programs. These programs also provide an opportunity for participants to build lifelong bonds that will be necessary when they try to solve difficult problems in the future. It will help them to accelerate the application of knowledge and experience. People ask me all the time, what are we really trying to accomplish? Well, we're trying to prepare high-potential supply chain professionals with both depth and breadth of knowledge necessary to compete globally and to kind of give them an accelerated experience necessary to lead future operations and supply chain functions. In other words, within our education, there are experiential activities built in order to help them develop the judgment and the decision-making skills and the overall leadership skills necessary to lead large amounts of people in global supply chains. This is truly a leadership development certificate, a non-degree program that deliberately is designed to accelerate the development of high-potential future global supply chain leaders. And when I say develop them, I mean develop them across all 15 elements of end-to-end global supply chain, starting with how to manage suppliers, to how to manage the inbound logistics programs, to how to manage the actual manufacturing sites of raw materials, manufacturing, provisioning, and planning, the actual execution or conversion processes, and even managing finished goods. And then how to manage the outbound side of the business, the primary outbound, the distribution networks, the secondary or last mile outbound, how to manage deliveries to customers and even from the customers ultimately to the consumers, and then of course, how to manage reverse logistics. Global supply chain leaders need today to understand all of these elements. Gone are the days where they can specialize in only one of these. Global supply chain leaders need to understand how every element on this chart impacts, well, every element on this chart. But even more than that, we need to talk and we need to educate high-potential global leaders into not just the technical elements of running a business, but also the organizational elements, the work design, the workflow, the work content, the responsibilities and the authorities, and how to describe that within the cultural boundaries that companies exist within. And then, of course, to understand the behavioral elements of running a global supply chain. And so these layers, we refer to these as the learning layers on top of the technical, requires deep focus, deep concentration, and an intense learning environment. And we've built that at Caltech. We've built over 90 courses within 10 categories that will help your people become great supply chain leaders. We've been at this for over a decade now, and we have tremendous results. We have people from 10 years ago who are in their 20s who are now vice presidents of supply chain and senior leadership positions in a number of companies. We start them all off at the foundation, the very bottom of this chart, with an understanding of the fundamental economic model of manufacturing and distribution. And we come back to that in every single course to make sure that everybody understands that their actions and their decisions and their behaviors all have economic consequences. We then move them into foundational courses that provide the foundation of global supply chain management, like planning and like scheduling and like inventory management and how to engage people in supply chain. Then we move them into organization design, how to actually design organization structures that enhance supply chain. We have quite a number of leadership and behavioral courses. We have support functions like quality assurance and maintenance and IT that support the roles of supply chain management. We have advanced workshops, quite a number of those. We have C-suite strategy workshops. And then one of my favorite is we have quite a number of simulation, tactile exercise, and role-playing workshops where they learn by discovery and they learn by doing. We even have some interface symposiums to talk about the various interfaces to other parts of the business. And then there's a capstone experience to each of these cohorts. We know that to be an effective global leader, an individual has to be more than just smart. And they certainly have to be more than just smart in one vertical area in their company. The leader has to have ample foundation of technical competencies that are topped with extraordinary organization skills, high levels of self-confidence, and well-developed personal discipline. This is how you take somebody with competence and give them confidence, connect that with discipline, and then you create effective leaders. Now, there's two forms that our cohort-based programs are taught in. The first is an enterprise cohort. Now, an enterprise cohort is a single company that engages Caltech to teach 20 to 24 of their high-potential supply chain professionals, typically professionals chosen from plants and facilities around the world. So these tend to be large multinational companies. Out of those over 90 courses, a number of those courses are selected. We work in collaboration with the client to pick more than 23 courses, including e-learning programs, that will span more than 38 equivalent days of instruction. And then we do that over a period of 2, sometimes even 3 years. So it's a combination of live weeks together and then e-learning programs in between those live weeks. We also have open cohorts, and an open cohort is a scheduled program where instead of 20 or 24 people from a single company, it's usually only 1 to 3 people from a single company. And those individuals now can mix with other individuals in the classroom. We have 15 predefined workshops, live workshops that take about 31 days, and they're connected with 127 hours of e-learning programs, plus some homework and some project work. The open cohort's very exciting because it brings people together from a lot of different companies, so an enormous amount of ideas are generated that can be useful back in the workplace. Plus, it's a lot of fun. So we start the first week, as always, in Pasadena, California, at Caltech's magnificent campus, where we give them what we call the Caltech experience. We take them to jet propulsion labs to see mission control, because that's going to later be a metaphor for sales and operations planning. We take them to the robotics lab so they can get some sense of future applications of this technology. And we do a lot more in that week at Caltech. And then 4 months later, we're going to meet in Berlin. And we meet in these different places because of factory tours that we take them on, and different types of factory tours. Also, we want global leaders to get global experience. And so a global supply chain development program pretty much mandates that you have to teach it in a global fashion. And so 4 months after Pasadena, we are in Berlin. In between, there's a few, or 2 to 3 e-learning programs that everybody has to do. And then after Berlin, 4 months later, we're in Zhengzhou, China. You can't be a global supply chain professional without understanding China and understanding what's going on in China. Then 4 months later, we're in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and then Cape Town, South Africa, and then Sydney, Australia. The open cohort takes 22 months to get through, and we go to every continent in the globe. So it's an exciting program, and we use a number of modalities. We use case studies, lectures, simulations, projects, stealth lessons, assessments, coaching sessions, tactile role-playing, company and site visits. But instead of just listing them all, let's take a look at some of the pictures of them. So here's an example on the left of a disassembly day in a design for manufacturing course. Yes, we actually get to use tools, and we actually tear products apart, and we do DFM in reverse. I mentioned earlier that in the Caltech experience, we take participants to Jet Propulsion Lab's mission control room so we can see a metaphor for sales and operations planning. We also take them on factory tours. Here's a tour in Vienna, Australia on the left, and then we have tactile role-playing exercises throughout the 22 months. This picture is of our radioactive popcorn high-consequence game, and this is a very interesting game that we teach in use in a number of the courses, and it teaches everything from project management to communication skills to safety and to work design and workplace segregation. We also try to get the students some experience with some technologies and some what we call cross-industry technologies. So here's a lab where a robot is building a little house. And so we look for ways that application of that technology can be used in other manufacturing companies. The students work long hours. These programs, the live programs are Monday through Friday. Typically, people fly in on a Saturday or a Sunday, and the days don't end until about 8 or 9 p.m. every day, sometimes even later, because we have evening programs as well as day programs. We have tours in the evening. We have guest speakers in the evenings. We have technology presenters in the evenings. So we do a lot in the evenings. Every minute is precious to us. We also have a lot of casual times where folks can just get together, and when the sun is shining, we like to get them out and we like to have them enjoy the day while they're learning. At Caltech, part of that experience that I talked about earlier is getting them into our robot lab where they can look at different kinds of robots and start thinking about applications in their companies. And then, of course, with logistics, we couldn't teach a program without taking them to our drone lab and to get them to start thinking about how this technology might be useful. So we use lots of methods and lots of modalities, but nothing is done by accident. We deeply think out our teaching methods for every course, in fact, every minute of every course. Every method, every modality we use has to be purposeful, engaging, thoughtful, memorable, relevant, and useful. And we do that because our goal is to develop true global thinking in our talented end-to-end supply chain professionals who can then use that information to drive sustainable, competitive advantages for their unique companies. We take this very seriously, and we want you to take it seriously. In fact, we'd like you to give us a call so we can meet to discuss, meet in person or by video conference, and have our team meet with your team to talk about the best way to create the next generation of global supply chain leaders. You have to ask yourself, how is your company going to address the talent disparities between the generation that's retiring and the generation that's now coming up through the ranks? How is your organization going to do that? Give us a call and let's talk about it. Thank you for attending this video. I really enjoyed the opportunity to share some of this information with you. If you want more information, please contact Ann Campbell, our Executive Director at the California Institute of Technology's Center for Technology and Management Education. The phone number, the email address, and the website are all there in front of you. Please give us a call and let's collaborate on a good, solid, beneficial way of developing your next generation of global supply chain leaders. My name is Alan Dunn. I appreciate your time. Now be the first, be the best, and be the most in supply chain that you can be. Thank you.